Alliance heroes had dropped like flies in the Battle of King's Ending. Nevertheless, the do-gooders had built them a magnificent, if largely undeserved, tomb. The corrupting evil would enjoy desecrating those graves. Unfortunately, Meltisand had her own ideas. The priestess set about trying to resurrect the heroes with a fiery ardor. Following the babbled promptings of that lousy frock-wearing Malachi, the corrupting evil traveled deep into the dogwood to find the slightly confusingly named ritual site, the Elbow of the Last Men. It was here, in the shadow of the disgustingly colorful weirdwood trees, that the Alliance had laid its fallen heroes to rest. But their final rest was about to end, one way or another. The annoyingly determined priestess, Meltisand, wanted to bring the heroes back to life with the help of a magical altar. Of course, there was no way the corrupting evil could possibly permit that. Instead, it wanted to desecrate the place in order to increase its power with a repulsively evil act. However, there was a small problem. Meltisand had consecrated the graves, which lent them a magical aura. The corrupting evil's undead unit's bones would start to shake as soon as they got anywhere near this place. It was therefore necessary to find a way to destroy this aura from underground. Searching evil had built an alchemy lab. Skeletons were able to perform true miracles with this ultra-modern unit and produce pottery at a speed that was absolutely absurd. The Alliance sent troops from nearby villages who set out for the Trap Happy Evil's dungeon. The corrupting evil cracked its knuckles in anticipation. Hopefully no one has arachnophobia. A spider nest has been discovered. Payday! Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Soon Grumley will again fight it outside and drink our beer. The altar will soon revive our fallen heroes.
The burrowing evil had dug into a pantry. Certainly there would be an exit to the farm here somewhere, once it had eliminated the bugs. There are enemies in your dungeon. It's payday. The rummaging evil had freed the farm's pantry of bugs. Here, there was sure to be enough space for its collection of mighty morphing Power Zombies action figures. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The corrupting evil's rickety subordinates had dug their way into a room full of spiders. It was time for the utmost caution. Well, either that or brutal destruction.
altar is almost finished. Soon the heroes will be revived and we will burn out the evil.
There are enemies in your dungeon. It appeared that the Moldy Evil's workers had dug into a gold mine. It most certainly would not allow the Alliance to continue to plunder this gold. The lusting for glittering gold evil had killed all the Alliance troops in the gold mine. This side of the dungeon entrance was now free. Enemies have entered the dungeon. payday. The corrupting evil had added a ghoul to its army. These emaciated brain biters were particularly well suited as melee fighters on the front lines. Corrupting evil had found a death bolt. The name was no longer appropriate for this creature, now used an extra-long rifle to wreak enormous amounts of damage over great distances. The corrupting evil's troops reduced an alliance to rubble. Inflamed with rage, Meltisand sent some of her bodyguards from the sacred place towards the dungeon.
Finally, some real opponents. Come, undead, follow me. We will exterminate all that lives.
You know, I'm starting to like that uncommunicative, curly-headed little so-and-so. Finally, the corrupting evil had found the hero's tomb. Now it was time for a little refined desecration and profanation.
Are you really sure no danger lurks here? This place stinks.
How should you know? You don't even have a living nose to smell with.
That's true. Right, then let's get these graves desecrated. No more questions, no more doubts.
As the corrupting evil's bony paw opened the tomb, a howling and wailing filled the air. Tomb guards rose and attacked the mouldering evil's troops. With a bitchy hiss, Galul's spirit vanished into thin air.
We shall not meet again, loser.
Aha! A quote from a famous fantasy film? In this game? My word, Barthas. Whatever shall become of us? Enemies have entered the dungeon. There are enemies in your dungeon. The opening of the second tomb called for tomb guards as well, but this time the moss-backed evil was prepared with troops at the ready to strike back. At least, I certainly hope so. Grumley's spirit was finally banned. Seems the atmosphere in the cemetery wasn't all that cheerful after all.
Wait. Let me do this one. Unexpectedly, the opening of the third tomb also called for a number of guards to attack the corrupted evil. End invitation. Ha 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 ha! Hey, that's fun. You got the easy job.
Stop that, that's my job. You just stick to rattling off your usual weighty dribble.
The Como champions. Feed me your rage.
Much better, although it sounds like I had heard that somewhere before. With a tragic death rattle, the demigod Kroto's spirit dissipated. It left behind a desecrated grave and a lot of ghostly feathers.
Ghostly feathers? That gives me an idea. Have we got any ghostly tar?
The heroes' graves lay desecrated. The corrupting evil could literally feel the collective energy of their souls. Now, it was necessary to pool this energy. If only the brooding evil had some sort of vessel for it, a body to receive the energy, something like, oh, a fallen, undead hero or something. Yes, that would be just the thing. You know what to do. Toss Curly over there onto the ritual platform, and we can move on from there.
I don't want to be tossed. I wish I was a dwarf. Nobody tosses a dwarf.
Quiet in the cheap seats. I'm still the one who decides who gets tossed where. I mean, the scripture. Finally, the ritual had begun. Now, all the corrupting evil had to do was just wait. However, you could be sure that Multisand wouldn't be sitting by the fire waiting for the ritual to end. So, it would be necessary to protect Barthas from her followers until he was done.
Those animated bone racks are trying to desecrate the tomb. Kill them! And if they get back up, kill them again!
Multisand didn't seem to enjoy robbing the dead as much as the corrupting evil did, and sent her troops off to protect the tomb. Spoil sport.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Multisand's minions attacked Barthas. The annoyed evil took care of the matter as quickly as possible, before the fools could interfere with the ritual. It's payday.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
These fanatics are trying to attack the ritual platform. Protect me already!
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Your throne room...
Hello? Hello? A little help will be appreciated here. I can't fight and desecrate these graves at the same time. What do you think I'm bloody made of?
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Multisan's minions attacked Barthas. The annoyed evil took care of the matter as quickly as possible, before the fools could interfere with the ritual.
These fanatics are trying to attack the ritual platform. Protect me already!
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Done! The ritual had been completed, and Barthas had become a great deal more powerful.
Hey, tell them about this new trick.
Yeah, fine. Henceforth, Barthas would be able to create an unholy aura, help the corrupting evil cast spells, and desecrate the holy places. You know, holy places, like the one in the middle of this map. Oh, by the way, the ritual had brought the corrupting evil enough evilness to improve his throne room. It should already know what that means. After all, it was playing the expansion to Dungeons 2. What it didn't know was that the energy released by the ritual had reduced the nearby entrance to rubble. The good news, that means no more enemies will be coming in that way anymore. The bad news, the corrupting evil would have to find another route to get its mindless army to the surface now.
Ha! The altar is completed. Now we can revive the heroes. Protos will stomp you into the ground, Barthas, you traitor!
Oh, sure. Our good Melty-San just proved to be about 5 lines of dialogue and 2 minutes late. The graves of the former heroes were desecrated, and nothing would rise, except perhaps for a couple of undead.
What? It isn't working? Barthas, you will pay for this. You may have destroyed these heroes, but with the altar of the fire god, I can always resurrect my troops. Your days are numbered.
That was unpleasant indeed for the increasingly deep in the doo-doo evil. That altar had to be destroyed. Somehow, the dawdling evil had still not built any of the new things, even though so many of them would be so useful, such as, for example, the transformation chamber. It is said that there are giants around here, but they are all currently elsewhere, as basketball season is here once again.
There are enemies in your dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Then build the bloody things. We need a transformation chamber to create more powerful undead.
The upgrading evil had built a transformation chamber. It could simply toss weak undead creatures in there to create stronger ones. Go on, give it a spin.
Heyday! There are enemies in your dungeon.
The cuddly evil had awakened the Gremlin. These cute and bloodthirsty creatures could set traps, bewitch enemies, or simply take a hearty bite out of an opponent. And when they weren't doing any of those, they took care of the graves in the cemetery.
There are enemies in your dungeon. Spiders have spread throughout the underground.
The elbow of the last men was once north of the wall, but they relatively quickly discovered that building an important pilgrimage site in an area full of zombies and man-eaters is rather dangerous. Why? One could be attacked every time one prays.
Payday. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Payday. There are enemies in your dungeon.
A wise man once found that these weirdwood trees receive their beautiful red color from the rich ketchup deposits in the soil in this region. When I say wise man, I mean me. And when I say found, I mean just decided. The corrupting evil would certainly use Barthas's new ability to desecrate Meltisand's temple, so that the mindless army could enter.
Payday.
The ritual was completed, the tombs desecrated. Instead of a magical aura, all that surrounded Melty Sand now was the tang of fear. Evil had her by the short and curls, and it was time to give that pesky priestess a truly hair-raising experience.
Look, can we just bloody stop talking about curly hair, alright? Now let's get her!
Fear not, my friends! We cannot allow the undead to pass. Defend the altar at my side, and your deeds will be sung throughout the kingdom. Through the fire god's power shall you be revived!
Oh, I forgot about that altar again. The clever evil wasted no time in destroying that altar.
Forward, undead! Follow me! For the corrupting evil!
The corrupting evil's undead army had almost reached Melty Sand when the cowardly fire priestess pulled back, preferring to send more of her minions into the fray instead. Very unheroic.
Forward, men! Destroy these undead! I'll be right behind you! I just need to sort something out first.
Yeah, sure. Right behind you. Just need to sort something out. Typical cowardly living creature.
Traitor! You may have won this battle, but the war is not over yet. I will build a new, even bigger altar and send you and your vile master back to your graves.
I will not let that happen. After her.
Yes, easier said than done. This bridge has collapsed and was unfortunately the only way deeper into the south. The unable to swim evil's troops would have to make a detour before they could resume the chase. Their path would lead to the east, into a region also belonging to the Alliance. That being the case, they would just spread their chaos and destruction there first.